let's talk about Justin Fields. His performance the other night, 5 for 6, 60-some yards, no touchdowns, fumbled 2 snaps, had 2 sacks. I mean, you could go back and look at it and say it's the center's fault, it's Justin Fields' fault. I don't know. I put out my 53-man roster prediction today. I'll tell you, Nate Herbig did not make the team. Not that I think Nate Herbig isn't worth making the team, but I think you could trade him and save yourself $2 million. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have another option in Spencer Anderson, maybe Mason McCormick. If worst case scenario, that's where you could look to as a different option outside of Nate Herbig. And when it comes to Justin Fields, maybe right now he's pretty firmly in the back seat of Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback. When you watch that, before I give you my thoughts and my opinion on it, did you think that the quarterback battle changed at all by the end of that preseason game?
Not particularly. No. I mean, we said it on Friday morning. We said, Justin Fields can't go out there and win the job. He could go out there and lose the job, and I don't think he went out there and lost the job. Yes, there were mistakes, but it's first preseason game mistakes. And yes, I would say, looking at what happened on those exchanges, I'd say Justin Fields has as much, if not more, of a responsibility on those than Nate Herbig did. But at the same time, Fields said the same thing right after the game. He said, listen, we both got to work on it. I'll take that as my fault, and we'll move on and make sure we don't do that in the future and practice a little bit more. So I think there were mistakes, as there were across the board on Friday, as Tomlin said several times to you guys post game. But I think when you look at it, he didn't gain any ground. I think he might have lost some ground, but he certainly didn't cost himself the job.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to say he cost himself the job, because there are points that you make there that are very good. That are very good points. I will say that I believe that Russell Wilson is very much so in pole position for this starting job after that one, simply because I think Justin had a pretty big hurdle to jump going into that game, much bigger than we expected it to be, and didn't make that jump. And I don't want to say disappointed, because I don't think he did disappoint. Like, his pass to Van Jefferson that was ruled out of bounds was definitely inbounds and a very good pass. His pass to George Pickens on it was a fake handoff turnaround. There was somebody right there. I believe it was a screen to George. It was very nice. His screen right at the beginning to Najee Harris, I thought, was excellent. He had some moments where you felt really good about Justin Fields, but there were also some moments where you were like, oh, okay, there wasn't enough oomph. Now, if Russell comes out here and does the same thing against Buffalo, maybe there just isn't any oomph, and maybe you got 2 guys with no oomph, and you need to figure out who brings the more upside. And at that point, it is certainly Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. But without Russell Wilson playing, I believe that Justin didn't firmly put himself in the backseat, but still has a very big hill to climb to leap Russell Wilson. But I also believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are really banking on Russ coming in here and looking good. And quite frankly, if the Buffalo Bills play their starters, there's no guarantee that Russ comes in here and looks very good. So let me ask this question. Sorry, still adjusting to where things are and where the camera is and what I can't bump and can bump and so on and so forth. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever found yourself scrolling on social media, maybe spending too much time on whatever platform you're addicted to, and thinking, man, why am I feeling down? Why do I find myself not finding the joy that social media is supposed to give me? That's because comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. But therapy can help. It can help you focus on what you want instead of what other people have, so you can start living your best life. I'm somebody who's advocated for therapy for a long time. You constantly see me wearing the sweatshirt, going to therapy is cool. I've reaped the benefits for years, and I think everybody who's thinking about it should add that to their agenda as well, because in one way or another, it's very helpful. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/allsteelers today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/allsteelers. Let me ask you this question. If Russ goes out there and starts, has the same game that Justin Fields has, do you look at this and say, okay, Justin's right back to climbing up that pole position mark than he was? And at the same time, what does Russ have to do to put this away?
If Russ goes out there and performs well against Buffalo, especially because Russ is likely, if he's playing, he's likely going to go up against the ones, then he probably pulls away enough that week one is out of the question for Justin Fields. But if Russ goes out and like you mentioned, the hypothetical of Russ going out and having the similar game to Justin Fields, where, all right, it was okay. There were certainly mistakes that you don't want a starting quarterback in the NFL to make, but he had a couple nice passes, made a few nice plays, and then Justin goes out there and dominates the twos. Then you look at that and say, all right, well, you have to weigh it differently, but still one had issues and the other one excelled against the twos. We have to kind of look at this as we're a little bit closer together than we were after week one. But again, it all depends on where you're looking at this quarterback competition. Did you see them as even last Tuesday when I was up there in camp? Because it seemed like the snap count was pretty even, but that was also Russ's first start. So I think where I'm at right now with this quarterback competition is it is Russell's job to lose still. Justin, if he lost any ground, it was a little bit on Friday, but I think that you go forward with that in mind, and then you have to reevaluate after, every day and after every game, especially.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with that. Like, you have to reevaluate after everyone. Now, Russ has taken significantly more first team snaps moving forward since the day you were out here. But at the same time, Russ has not played a preseason game. And I think that helped him more than anything, is him not being on the field. Just he's gonna, what's the word where you like fall upwards. Russell is literally falling upwards. He has injured himself into pole position, an even stronger, bigger pole than he was in before, because he has not been on the field. Now, Justin looks like he was knocking that pole down real fast, but since then, it's, you're only going to analyze the bad. I think that there's more to come. I'm excited for this weekend because this is really the first test. Like, Justin against Houston, that was a big one. I understand that, but this is you will get to watch both quarterbacks because we're 100% guessing on Russell Wilson. That's the biggest thing, is we are guessing on what Russell Wilson can do. And we have he could go out there and stink. He could be terrible. And then we could just be like, oh, okay, well, Justin's clearly the answer here. Or he could be phenomenal. He could be old Russell Wilson, where you're just like, wow, that was ridiculous. That was so smooth and effortless. You have to put him in there. I just think it's early. It's too early, and we have no idea what Russ is gonna do. And because of that, this weekend is the weekend to go about it. It's a big one.